welcome to Coffee for Cause Zero Hours, Mr. Puneet Anand.
Thank
Uh,
you, Mr. Ranjan.
let's start primarily from the key learnings from the last 2 years in the COVID times, because there have been a lot of introspection happening at the company's end. So, if you would want to share it with our subscribers and viewers, as such.
Okay. So first of all, thank you, and it is always a pleasure to be part of this unique initiative. I like to thank CauseBecause, for working very tirelessly towards this new vision of sustainability and social cause. So if we say that Hyundai Motor India has been the largest exporter and the second largest domestic manufacturer for the last 19-20 years since the time we came to this country. This year is a very special year for us because we are also celebrating our silver jubilee, and that
Correct.
happens to be 25 years of Hyundai in India. And we feel that we are largely an Indian organization with the ethos which reflect our customer sentiments and also the desire of the customers to excel. India is a very, very dynamic market, and we have learned it over the period of time. In fact, the last 2 years, if I would say, have been quite invigorating in terms of understanding the uncertainties which happen in the industries. I
Yes.
do recall the month of March 2020 when this pandemic started, and it actually took everybody by surprise because we in our years have never seen such kind of a catastrophe which has led to the entire machinery coming to a grinding halt. The
Correct.
factories closed, the offices closed, schools closed, the entire operation coming, and such a big nation, such a big world coming to a standstill was a big challenge. But as you know that, life is something which teaches us lessons. And I think that is what it taught us, how to live in the uncertainty. I think one of the biggest lessons which you have learned is how to mingle with the uncertain situations and how to meander out of it and come up, because life will go on happening. We have seen many challenges in the past, but this was one of the big challenge which has led to the change of the thought process. So these uncertainties which we were there, we try to first understand what are the areas of concern. We try to resolve them. It was like a firefighting mechanism to ensure first our people should be safe. So we took a very noble initiative of ensuring that people should be working from home. We made the infrastructure so that the work should not stop. And then going by the government of India and the various state government recommendations, we had a slow and steady start of our operations. So we were the first OEM to start our factory in the month of May 2020 when we started our operation. Although it was a very slow operation, we had our workers coming from various parts of Tamil Nadu and Chennai, where our factory is located. And that's how the story unraveled, and we were able to come back with the strong growth opportunities also. But at the same time, we realized that even the consumer psychology is changing over these last 2 years.
Correct.
Consumers do not really want to invest on those brands which are very, very hollow. They need brands which are focused on a societal cause, brands which are working on greener economics, and the brands which have a human-centered organization culture.
True.
Because this pandemic has actually, led to many unfortunate loss of lives also, and that has told people that okay, if I'm investing in something, it should be meaningful, and that is where the human-centered face of the organization started coming up. So we initially decided that business will always happen, but business should be with the cause. And that is where we started partnering. Our main focus was to first support the central government. Then we
Correct.
worked towards the state government. And then biggest challenge, if you remember last year, was to how to support the vulnerable societies. The people who do not have any means of education, do not have any means of employment, how will they be working under these circumstances? The medical infrastructure was, big challenge. So our first phase of COVID actually was interested in terms of setting up that overall mind plan, and that is where we started venturing. We donated a lot of money to the Prime Minister Relief Fund, to various state government relief funds, worked hand in hand. And the biggest challenge was these small things like availability of masks, availability of sanitizers, availability of basic medical equipments. So this was the area which we started working upon as the pandemic unfolded in the year 2020. Then slowly things started to coming down. But as the winters progressed and we saw the second wave coming, again we said that it is another mission which we started. We call it back to life, wherein
Mm.
we worked upon ensuring that the challenge of the availability of oxygen plants, and other some high quality equipments, which was more of a medical need, because that time mass sanitizer was not a challenge. The more challenge was availability of these costly medical equipments. So this was the way we started supporting the central, the state government, the vulnerable societies. In terms of vulnerable societies, now job became a very important thing. So we started a project which we call the project Saksham, wherein we spent a lot of money in terms of arranging education for these grassroots level people, especially in the area of medical, so that they can get trained in 2 3 months and then become like janitors, nurses, spot boys, and go and work in various medical institutes. So in the last year itself, we have added around 600 to 700 people who are now working across the country, and by the next March, we'll be adding another 600 to 700 people. So total 1,500 people will be training, recruiting, and they will be employed on an average salary of 8,000 to 10,000 rupees across the country in various medical areas.
पिछले साल पूरी दुनिया पर भयंकर मुसीबत आई। हमारे देश ने भी बड़ी मुश्किलें उठाईं। इस तकलीफ ने गरीबों को सबसे ज्यादा झकझोर दिया। काम छूटा, रोजी छूटी, उनकी उम्मीदों को तोड़ दिया। बेहिसाब बेसहारा लोग अपने घरों की ओर चलने पर मजबूर हो गए। जिस शहर ने दी थी शरण, उसी कर्मभूमि से दूर हो गए। बढ़ती बेरोजगारी, अस्पतालों पर बढ़ते दबाव और नई जरूरतों के बीच Hyundai मोटर इंडिया फाउंडेशन ने एक अनोखी पहल की, सक्षम। सक्षम एक अनूठी कोशिश है जिसके तहत देश के कई हिस्सों में जरूरतमंदों को अस्पतालों में काम करने की ट्रेनिंग दी जा रही है। अनेक बहादुर लोग इस बेमिसाल पहल के साथ जुड़ने लगे। ये औरों को भी जोड़कर सक्षम बनाने लगे। शुरू में इनके परिवार वाले इस फैसले से सहमत नहीं थे। उनके मन में था संकोच, अनगिनत सवाल। पर ये लोग भी कमाल थे, जिन्होंने हार मानने से इनकार कर दिया। खाली नहीं बैठेंगे, ये खुद से करार कर लिया। Hyundai के संस्थानों में ये सब बेहतरीन कौशल एवं प्रशिक्षण पा रहे हैं। सही मायनों में सक्षम होकर देश भर के अस्पतालों को सशक्त बना रहे हैं। जिन्हें पहले इनकी फिक्र थी, आज उन्हें इन पर फक्र है। अब ये लोग सक्षम हैं अपनी जिंदगी के हालात बदलने में। ये सक्षम हैं दूसरों के ख्यालात बदलने में, अपने मजबूत इरादों से औरों के जज्बात बदलने में। इन बदलते जज्बात से समाज बदलने में। ये सक्षम हैं समाज का आज बदलने में, अपने आने वाले कल का निर्माण करने में। अब ये सक्षम हैं भारत को और महान करने में।
Another thing which we thought, because everything went on online mode. Now there were some children, especially of these frontline warriors, who did not have the wherewithal and means to, invest on digital education. So we also gave around, I remember, 1,000 tablet PCs to these students of the frontline warriors so that they can continue their education. And these PCs were basically installed with 2-year software from various education providers, and that helped them to continue their education in a very strong way. There were many projects we started, especially in the Jhuggies area, where we distributed khadi masks. So we call it the project Rakshak, which helped them to overcome the area of pandemic. So these were some of the areas which we worked in the year 2020 and 2021 going forward to support the government, to support the society, and to support the larger masses and make Hyundai a really meaningful brand, not only providing mobility, but a mobility which is green, which is meaningful, and which has a lot of message for the society as a whole. So
Very
that's
interesting.
been
So talking of green mobility, so that's what automobile industry has been talking about from last 2 to 3 years. So we say we're just not the vehicle manufacturers. We are primarily looking at the mobility solutions, and we are mobility solution providers. So how do you expand on this? Like if a layman like me has to understand a company like Hyundai is saying we are just not the vehicle manufacturers, we are looking at creating solutions around mobility, and that is green mobility. So can you just expand on it a little bit?
I think very important. If you see in the last couple of years, the focus of the world has come on sustainable mobility. And sustainable mobility is something which we call as a green mobility. Now, what green mobility means is, Hyundai when came into India, we came on one platform that we will be the technology leaders. If you recall, way back in 98, when our first product was launched, the Santro, it
Central.
was the first car with an MBFI engine. Then we launched our Accent, which was the first car with a diesel CRDI engine. We were the first in India to give a car which was a connected car. And then we were the first in India to give a full-fledged SUV, which is a fully electric SUV, that is the Kona.
Cool.
And recently, we have ventured into other areas like i20 N9. So we have always worked upon technology-focused solutions for the customer, and whatever we have done has become a benchmark and which is being followed by other players also. Now, having said that, this green mobility actually is working on our four pillars. We call it MECA, MECA. M, as you know, is mobility, E is electrification, C is connectivity, and E is autonomous. So these four pillars form a very strong vision for our future sustainable goals. And that is where our electric car technology. So we have a full range of electric products under the brand name Ionic. After the Kona, we also will be bringing some very meaningful electric products to the country of India. And we are also the pioneers not only in electric, but I think there is another level of technology, which is called the hydrogen mission. If you recall, the Honorable Prime Minister in 15th of August had announced the hydrogen mission. And I'm very happy to share that we are already there, because we are the first manufacturer across the world to start commercially selling hydrogen cars and hydrogen commercial vehicles, that is the trucks and buses, on a global basis. So we have recently showcased Nexo, which is our full fuel cell electric vehicle, FCEV, which runs on hydrogen with a range of more than 600 miles across the world. And this has been commercially sold in various countries where hydrogen is commercially available as a fuel. And we are very strongly focused on introducing this technology into India by showcasing it to various stakeholders, various trade bodies, various government officers. So that is overall our theme in terms of sustainable mobility. And we are working along with the government of India because, see, it's a mutual collaboration. A company cannot do everything on its own. It needs a win-win situation from the service providers. It needs win-win situation from the government policies. And I think government is doing a commendable job in terms of promoting the electrification, setting up of infrastructure. And I think by 2025, 2030, we have seen many ministers talking about penetration of two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and also the four-wheelers going forward. And I think we are in for a great time when India will be truly a very green economy running on, green technology, green infrastructure, and also working together with the cause of society as well as environmental factors are concerned.
Yeah, let's just talk about green mobility. It's like fine. It mentions that you have products that are green and that's going to sustain the system. That are going to be sustainable products for the future. Also, look at the company's operations. So, how has been the company's overall sustainability vision from terms of operations, from looking at the emissions, looking at say they're going at what we call water positive or say carbon neutral. So, can you just throw some light on those targets as well? Yes.
So, Ranjan, actually, I just want to share you that we have our global vision, which is called the Progress for Humanity. Now, this global vision actually defines a lot of meaning for us. Progress for humanity is a very big terminology which we use because we feel that whatever we are doing, it should be towards a humanitarian cause. And recently, if you announce, our Honorable Chairman announced a big vision which says that Hyundai Motor Group companies will become carbon negative by 2045. Now, that's a very big vision where in the next 20-22 years, we are aiming at becoming a carbon negative organization, whether it is in terms of our manufacturing operation, whether it is in terms of our service operations, or whether it is in terms of various platforms, whether it is the hydrogen mission, whether it is the electrical mission, or whether it is anything related even to the IC engines. Because today we cannot say that IC engines will be totally gone. Still, there will be a prolonged time when these IC engines will continue to work. So we were the pioneer in ensuring that we honor the government of India's BS6 vision. So we are the only manufacturer which has a full range of diesel products in the BS6 technology. So we have both gasoline as well as diesel in the BS6. Now we are also working towards the next phase 2 of CAFE and the RDE norms, which will bring a very big sea change as far as the environmental pollution and also sustainable factors for the IC engines are concerned. But if we look at our overall vision, even in the manufacturing operations, we are doing a lot of things. Like, for example, our Chennai plant is actually an independent plant, whether there is a rainfall or not. We have 6 ponds in our factory. And these ponds, we are using rainwater harvesting. So all the water which is accumulated during the rains, we are putting it, storing in the ponds. And during the time of crisis, when there is less rain, Chennai, as you know, is a low water table place. So we are utilizing those pond waters. Then we are almost energy efficient in terms of solar energy. We have implemented large solar panels, and almost 85% of our manufacturing power, we get it from our solar plants. And our plant is a certified green plant. I would invite you to come and visit our plant sometimes, wherein you will find that in such hot climate, we are able to manage greenery. So we have ponds, we have farmhouses, we have various animals, livestock in our plant. We have lot of fruits, vegetables, and it's basically a culmination of manufacturing with environment together, put together. So that is where we feel that we are working towards the government of India's mission. We are working hand in hand. We are also supporting a lot of the areas around our plant. So the government has also allocated a lot of land to us, which we are maintaining. Recently, we acquired one land where we are putting around more than 5,000 trees. And those trees will be working in terms of giving that necessary cover, green cover to the industrial area. So that land, entire maintenance is done by us. It's almost 16-acre land. We are maintaining that land. We are giving it water. That trees are being planted. We are also developing nurseries around it. So it also happens to be a source of income for the local people in the villages which are surrounding our plant. And that's where we feel that harmony between human beings and manufacturers is very important to sustain on a long-term relationship. That's some of the belief on the sustainable
Tell me
business.
something about the social side as well. So there is also a Hyundai Motor India Foundation. So in the last 2 years, probably more focus, where most of the focus must have been on the COVID things, but there must have been some other social initiatives, some several social programs also. I remember getting a release around the artists, helping the artists around, and there were some funds going. I don't remember the name of the initiative. Probably you can start talking from there and then talk about some
Yes.
other flagship programs too.
So actually, absolutely right. HMIF, or Hyundai Motor India Foundation, is a
Yes.
philanthropic arm of HMI. It was established way back in 2006, and the aim was that whatever we are producing should also be funneled to the society. It's a very professional way of ensuring that each car we produce, some funds are allocated. And this program which we are talking, it's a very new program. We call it Art for Hope.
Art for
Why we
yes.
call it Art for Hope? Because what happens is, today there are many celebrity artists. They have a lot of means to sustain their livelihood. They can do their shows, they can show their artifacts, they can do fashion shows, and people will come, they will buy their products. But we must also remember that across the country, especially in many states which do not have much of infrastructure, there are many potential artists who have good creative arts. They are very skilled, but don't have the wherewithal to showcase their expertise to the people. So we started this program Art for Hope, where we have invited people from a certain section of society to showcase their work of art. It could be in the area of design, it could be in the area of pottery, it could be in the area of paintings, it could be in the area of photography. And we have also put a panel of experts who are masters in the area of art. So these entries which will come, we will then shortlisting those entries, and out of that, 25 budding artists will be given a grant of 1 lakh rupees each, so that they can showcase their work on a bigger platform. So that's
Right.
what Art for Hope is there. But it is a beginning towards a new vision of supporting the heritage of this country, because these are the artists who are developing strong societal relationships. Today we may have forgotten our old palaces, old forts, old monuments, but these are our heritage.
Right.
These are the ones which have been produced by our ancestors, and how to maintain their generation is something which our program Art for Hope is doing. And this is only one of the areas which we are working upon, but there are many activities, as I have told you, under the umbrella of HMIF. We have programs on the health sector, we have program on the education sector, we have program on the hygiene sector, we have program towards the job creation sector. Project Rakshak, I already shared, it was towards
Yes.
supplying masks. Project Shikshak was towards supplying tablets to the education. Gramin sanitization, rural areas, because rural areas do not know what is COVID, what is hygiene. So around 1,800 villages at around 300 districts, I remember last year, we took this initiative with our rural sales team, and we did the sanitization of these villages through our own people. So these people went to those villages. We had certain equipments, as you know, sanitization now, and then further we donated this equipment to those villages also so that they can continue the sanitization program. We are also now planning to sanitize upon the schools, government schools, because the people can come back, the children can come back, and we can say that these are COVID negative schools. So this is another program which we did last year, which is called the Gramin Sanitization. And in terms of the project Back to Life, very happy to share that this year when this pandemic started, we wanted to support. So we went a little ahead in terms of technological interference. So we have donated oxygen plants, we have donated oxygen concentrators, we donated high flow nasal oxygen meters, we donated BiPAP machines, we donated body bags, we donated masks, we donated sanitizers, and we also donated some oxygen plants which were big in capacity for certain big hospitals of the government, so that they can continue to sustain for future, because we never know that COVID-3, COVID-4, these pandemics may keep on coming, but we should be resilient and we should have strength in terms of
prepared, yes.
we are prepared for the future also.
Right.
And we have not done it only for Delhi or NCR area. We have done it on pan-India basis. So our efforts have been, in the state of Maharashtra, they have been in Telangana, they have been in Tamil Nadu, they have been in Uttarakhand, they have been in Haryana, Delhi. So many places we have actually coordinated with the local state governments, and we have provided, and we'll continue to do this. Because infrastructure development is a very big initiative, and we feel that these are the areas which can help us to ensure that the COVID-3, in case if it comes, we should be resilient and very prepared to face it.
Yes, very interesting. So can you give me an example of one program which is like you think has been the most impacting one, and probably share a story of some beneficiary or some outcome from there?
Okay. So actually, what happened, I remember it was in the month of February this year, when the pandemic had not started, things were opening up, and we had this project Saksham, which we had initiated last year. So we were doing the training of these young students in certain small areas. There is a village called village Nu. Nu is actually a very small district in Haryana, but it's a very potential district. So we had actually trained around 50 students over there, and I had the chance to visit one of that center, and we went to distribute the certificates over there. And we had those students and their children and their parents come over there. And I could see the sense of pride in their eyes. I could see the happiness in the eyes of their parents, because these were the children who are otherwise doing nothing. But having trained under the expert guidance, they were able to, now go for a respectable job. And the girl, she was so happy. She said that it is something which is a new meaning to me, because now I will not be a vulnerable person, but I'm the one who's supporting the society by giving back to life solutions to my community. That was something which really, stirred my emotions, and I felt so proud that we are, working. And this year, 1,500 people overall, as I said, will be training and will be putting them into jobs. Another example, I remember when village Lakshmangad, it is also a small village where the availability of these grassroots level medicine is not available. So we had opened one telemedicine clinic. As you know, for a villager, it is very difficult to go to main city like Jaipur and, take good treatment. So we have opened, because technology is one of the big beneficiaries now. So we've opened certain clinics, telemedicine clinics, where a patient can come to that small clinic in the village, and there is a small, nurse who will connect them to a renowned doctor in Jaipur, Udaipur, and then the patient can show his or her ailment, and then the doctor can tell them what is the medicine to be.
Which happens virtually, virtual consultation.
It happens virtually. So that is why we call it telemedicine clinics.
Telemedicine clinic, yes.
So we have already opened telemedicine clinics in Haryana. Now we are going in Rajasthan. We'll be going in UP. We'll be going in Tamil Nadu, and we'll be opening many in Gujarat. So we are in the process of opening many telemedicine clinics along with our associates, so that people in the villager areas, rural areas, they basically are able to get quality medical attention. So we call it basically Sparsh Sanjeevani. The program, we call it Sparsh Sanjeevani, which basically in Hindi means we are touching the life of the people through these telemedicine clinics.
मैं संजीवनी हूँ। प्राचीन काल से अनेक चिकित्सा पद्धतियों की साक्षी हूँ। मैंने हर दौर में उपचार के रूप बदलते देखे हैं। वेदों के ज्ञान से आधुनिक विज्ञान तक, आयुर्वेद की उन्नति से एलोपैथी के ज्ञान तक, चिकित्सा की इन विभिन्न नदियों से मिलकर उपचार का एक महासागर बना है, जिसने पूरे विश्व को गंभीर रोगों से उबारा है। एक ओर जहां विज्ञान की उन्नति से शहरों में उत्कृष्ट चिकित्सा उपलब्ध है, वहीं दूसरी ओर कुछ गांव ऐसे भी हैं जो आज भी आधुनिक उपचार सेवाओं से कोसों दूर हैं। कई गांवों में लोगों को आज भी बुनियादी स्वास्थ्य सेवाओं का इंतजार है। इस दौर में भी उन्हें अपने इलाज के लिए मीलों का सफर रोज तय करना पड़ता है। पर अब ये जरूरी है कि बदलाव आए, सूरत बदले और हालात सुधरे। चिकित्सा के इस महासागर की लहरें हर जरूरतमंद तक पहुंचे। स्पर्श संजीवनी की सैटेलाइट क्लिनिक्स इसी दिशा में एक बड़ी पहल है। टेक्नोलॉजी और उपचार का अद्भुत संगम है। जी हाँ, विशेषज्ञ डॉक्टर्स से इलाज अब गांव में भी संभव है। कल तक इनके जैसे सैकड़ों रोगी उपचार से वंचित थे, पर आज उत्कृष्ट चिकित्सा सेवाएं सैटेलाइट क्लिनिक्स में इन सब के लिए संचित हैं। अपनी सेहत का ख्याल रखना अब इन सब के लिए भी आसान है। स्पर्श संजीवनी की ये सैटेलाइट क्लिनिक जन जन के लिए स्वास्थ्य का वरदान है। मेरी सदियों की निरंतर यात्रा अभी भी अधूरी है। हर जरूरतमंद तक मेरा स्पर्श पहुंचे, मेरे लिए बस यही जरूरी है।
And also there are certain medical mobile units which are going village to village, and they are also with the doctor and they are giving them treatment over there. So these are some medical related things which we feel we are proud of, and we'll continue to spend more and more on this and see that the thread of life is maintained.
मैं संजीवनी हूँ। मैंने हमेशा अपनी रीत निभाई है, लोगों का साथ दिया है, उनमें उम्मीद जगाई है। इस गांव से मेरा सदियों पुराना नाता है। न जाने कितने दौर गुजरे, अपनी बीमारी में हर कोई आज भी मेरे पास ही आता है। समय के साथ मैं भी बढ़ चली हूँ। अब मैं सबके पास जाती हूँ, इस गाड़ी में सवार अपनी रीत निभाती हूँ और लोगों को दर्द तकलीफों से सुकून दिलाती हूँ। चलिए इस गांव से आपको भी मिलवाती हूँ। इन दादी माँ ने हर पीढ़ी के बच्चों को कहानियां सुनाई हैं। अब उनका पीठ दर्द उन्हें तंग कर रहा है। वो आज यहाँ उससे जीतने आई हैं। इन सज्जन के भी हौसले बुलंद हैं, तभी तो अपने जोड़ों के दर्द को पछाड़ने की ठानी है। इस नन्हे शैतान को रोज शाम तालाब में नहाकर ताजगी लेनी है। अब बुखार होना तो लाजमी है ना, इसलिए माँ की बात मान लेनी चाहिए। सालों में पहली बार कोई आया है जो मेरी परंपरा को आगे ले जा रहा है। ये मोबाइल चिकित्सा वैन खुद चलकर गांव वालों के पास जाती है। उनके स्वास्थ्य का बखूबी ख्याल रखती है। अब चल पड़ी है अगले गांव की ओर, कुछ और तकलीफें दूर करने, कुछ और मुस्कुराहटें बांटने।
So, do companies' employees also volunteer or participate in the social initiatives? Is there any initiative like this? Yes, sir.
Actually, we have something known as a volunteer program. Recently, I'll tell you what happened. We had actually done a small activity near one orphanage. In Faridabad area, there is an orphanage where there are some mentally challenged people. Now, what this happen is these people are, always, main thing is they don't get that kind of a love and affection. So recently we went to that orphanage along with our HMI staff, our HR people, our sales people, marketing people, and we spent good 3-4 hours with them. We not only gave them some food, clothes, some medicines, but we also chatted with them. We discussed with them, listened to their, challenges, and they felt so happy that it is the families coming back to them. Similarly, the pond program, we are also taking a program of the restoration of certain ponds in Gurgaon. Nearby Haryana areas, we have selected 3 ponds which are not depleted, but we are working with the government of Haryana so that we can resurrect those ponds, and through water body rejuvenation, we can ensure that water comes over there. So that's another area where our people will be working in terms of afforestation, planting of trees, getting the water back, and also desilting and all these areas. So these are some employee volunteer program. Very soon we are starting with the toy collection. So our employees who have toys lying in their houses, which otherwise will be wasted or thrown, will collect them, good toys, and we will give them to some children who are vulnerable, who do not have these facilities. So this is another program which we are working towards to ensure that our employees feel very much involved in the day-to-day activities of the HMIL operations. These are some things which I thought I can share.
It makes sense that when the company says we are socially responsible, we are a conscious corporate, so that doesn't mean the board itself. It has to be everybody who's part of the company, who's joining, who's working along with it.
Basically, to shorten, we say share to care. The
Yes.
more we share, because today, if I am giving something from my home to a children who's not able to manage those kind of toys or maybe clothes or maybe medicines, so we are feeling that okay, it is our sharing which is leading to the care of that individual. So that's the program we feel is very important. And yes, our management definitely is involved, but at the same time, our grassroots level people, we have volunteers, we have nominations from various departments who go and who work on these areas. And we have a centralized team, our CSV team. Basically, they are working along with various stakeholders to ensure that we have a very meaningful participation on these.
Right. Employees have to be anyway socially conscious and aware. So if the company is socially conscious and aware, so every employee should reflect that in the outside the society as well.
Yes, that is the thing. They should feel emotionally and socially connected to the organization.
So, one thing that CauseBecause has always been trying to explore and talk, say, just through ideas around corporates. So, you work in so many social sector, social causes, for social causes, and there are several other corporates also who are working in the similar causes. So, have you ever explored collaborating with, probably not with a competitor, but maybe some other company which is working in the same domain and have a larger impact in the area? So, like you mentioned, you're working on ponds in Gurgaon.
Yes.
Desilting of ponds or creation of water channels. So I also know Hero Motocorp does a lot of work in the same domain along with the government there. Toyota also started doing something in the similar domain. So I'm just giving you examples from the automotive companies. Is there a potential or say opportunity or that we all collaborate together and look at a larger impact somehow?
No, actually, Rajiv, Mr. Rayna, I can tell you one thing very important. As I said, collaboration is the key to success in any of these initiatives. So, like the fact you talked about the pond rejuvenation. Yes, I am not an expert in water management. My team is not expert in water management. So, what we have done is there is a society which is formed in Gurugram under the aegis of the DC, Deputy Commissioner, wherein this is called Gurujan. So, the name is Gurujal Society. So, that Gurujal Society basically works towards developing the infrastructure because they have the technical expertise and know-how on this. So we've already tied up with them, and along with them, we'll be working towards these water rejuvenation programs. But at the same time, it's not only one thing. There is another area which we're talking about is the waste management. If you see Gurgaon, because of its eateries, because of the hotels, there is a lot of wet and dry waste which is being generated. So we
Correct.
have also gone to MCG and we have said that we want to set up a waste management and waste recyclation plant. And we are very happy to share that very soon we'll be announcing this project wherein we will be taking one area in Gurugram, set up a waste recycling center, take the dry and wet waste from neighboring societies, eateries, and then convert them into some meaningful energy source. It could be a biogas, and then give that biogas back to the either the society or that eatery, so that it is becoming a cyclical economy. So
Yes.
round economy we are trying to create. So that's another area where we are working with some organizations who have expertise and knowledge on the waste management. So these are another areas, and rightly said that collaboration is the key to
Partnerships.
success
Yes.
in terms of any of these programs. Otherwise, individually, I don't have expertise. I may have money, but I may not have knowledge. People have
Yeah.
knowledge; they do not have money. So we have to marry knowledge and money together to ensure that the ultimate results become very meaningful.
Yes. Last but not the least, it's like from a personal side, if I have to choose between Kona and Varna or top end or probably some model in the same range, which one should I choose?
So actually, yeah, Varna and Kona I can't because of the price difference almost three
Price
times.
difference.
But see, today what the government is very much focused on improving the penetration of electric cars. So there are certain subsidies, there are certain benefits which we are getting from various state as well as central government. So eventually, I would personally feel that yes, electrification is going forward, and we as
Yes.
a conscious citizen should also invest in these greener technologies. Although there will be some time because these infrastructures, the challenges, and all, but I think people will have to take an initiative. Companies will have to take an initiative. Government
Hmm.
will have to take this initiative. Today we are in 2021. Hardly there is much penetration of electric four-wheelers, I would say. Two-wheelers still we are finding good traction because they are
Right. Yes.
small ticket items, and then FAME too. Policies largely towards two-wheelers and three-wheelers, not much
True.
towards the four-wheelers because it is not in the personal segment. So once
Hmm.
these things also become more proliferant, I think that will be the future. But yes, as a technology provider, any of my product, right from Centro to Tucson, which includes Kona, will be a great product to buy. And I can assure you that they will be all environmental conscious, sustainable, and very safe product because safety is also very important from the time of automobile mobility. So that's what I would request.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'll just ask you one last thing. Any message or idea you want to share with Cause subscribers who's aware and a conscious consumer? Anything that you would, or probably an experience of yours? Yes.
I think what I would like to share one thing is that we are living in a world which is full of uncertainty. As I said in the beginning of my session, as a family, as a country, as a society, we all need to be very agile and we all need to be very much perceptive to the cause. Today, we have seen not only in India, let's see, I think, what is happening in parts of the world, what is happening in the Western countries, what is happening in the European market. Sometimes we are seeing volcanoes, sometimes we are seeing the complete islands being, getting
Submerged.
vanished.
Yes.
We are seeing some big water challenges coming. We are seeing some big cities getting submerged in water. Why all this is happening? This is all happening because we have not been able to utilize that very meaningful thing we call it sustainable energy. We have been misusing the free resources which have been given to us. Now for the betterment of our children, for the betterment of the society, it's the time for us as a participant, and also for the leaders, that this is the time when we have to all work towards the sustainable future, because we are looking at a world which is growing very strong. We are looking at technology, but these technologies need to be harnessed towards developing the world as a better place to live. And that is because this is the future. Our children are growing up, but what we see, how is their health, how they will grow. Today, when we look at our predecessors, they had a strong antecedents, they had strong followership, green technology. They were all doing lot of exercises, lot of programs. But we are actually becoming a very chair oriented society. So we all need to come out of it. We all need to work very strongly toward ensuring that we go back to the basics and we reinvent ourselves so that we can define a better world to live in. And that is where the world leaders, the environmentalists, the society people, the leaders, the organizations have to work towards. Otherwise, it will be a big challenge for us to live into a very homogeneous society. So that's my message, I think, to the audience, that CauseBecause is a great organization working towards very great cause. So we all must contribute to this cause and feel proud that we are part of this noble initiative.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Puneet
Thank
Anand. It
you.
was
Thank you,
great
Mr.
pleasure
Ranjan.
talking to you. And
Thank you, Mr. Ranjan, and thank you. It was great talking to you and understanding your vision also. And wherever possible, whatever way we can collaborate, we can partner, we can, always look towards that. Our team is all focused. We are all ready. And I think in future, let's have more and more initiatives which can actually be proliferated and become a
yes,
meaningful example for others
yeah,
to.
great. Thank you so much.